Good evening. It is 7:33 and it's July 25th, 2023. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Norwalk Common Council. If you'll please rise and join me in pledging allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
which
stands one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep. Ms. Roundtree, if you'll please call the roll.
Mr. Burnett,
Present.
Mr. Camacho,
Present.
Mr. Goldstein,
Present.
Ms. Najilski Egner, Ms. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Ayers, Mr. Hooverman,
Present.
Ms. Revolus,
Here.
Ms. Young,
Here.
Mr. Kites, Ms. McMurr,
Here.
Ms. Alterman, Mr. Meek, Ms. Shanahan,
Here.
Mr. Freyer,
Here.
Ms. Najilski Egner, Ms. Ayers, Mr. Kites, Ms. Alterman, Mr. Meek, and Ms. Najilski Egner.
I'm present. My apologies. I was having some trouble with my Zoom.
We have 11.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, acceptance of the minutes of the special meeting of July 6, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Revolus makes a motion. Any corrections, deletions, or omissions? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ms.
I
McMurr-
abstain.
Ms. McMurr and Ms. Shanahan abstained. Next, we have a acceptance of the minutes of the public hearing of July 10th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Mr. Burnett. Any discussion, any omissions, any deletions? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 11th, 2023. Ms. McMurr makes a motion. Any corrections, deletions, or omissions? All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Next on the agenda is public participation. I do want to announce that there might have been some misinformation. The leaf blower ordinance is not on tonight's agenda. It is my understanding it'll be on the agenda for the meeting of August 8th. So there can be no comment on any item that's not on the agenda. Anybody wishing to make comments on the leaf blower ordinance should from August 8th. Ms. Shanahan?
Mr. Mayor, I believe that it's going to be on the agenda in September, our first September meeting.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The first meeting of September, which would be the second Tuesday of September, the leaf
I think it's the
blower ordinance
12th.
will be on the agenda. So now public participation. Mr. Manzi, do we have anybody wishing to address the council?
Yes, we have Ken Lalim.
Mr. Laline?
Good evening. I'm here to disclose to you a wonderful person or a great job I have on a volunteer basis. But I'm here tonight to talk about the reappointment of Deanna Diamore for the Director of Health position for the city of Norwalk. The number of years that board members have on the that board members have on the Board of Health is somewhat staggering if we put those together. But there's truly a dedicated group of people that are led by Deanna in a way that I've seldom seen in my career. She's represented us all, whether we know it or not, in many aspects of local and regional issues, has been on regional boards, has actually run the directorship for the state of Connecticut. A lot of things that people don't see that, but what that adds for her capabilities long-term is great. We benefit from that all the time. Her leadership during the COVID pandemic was astounding. You didn't hear about the big issues. They were contained, adopted, relationships were built. All of those things happened for the benefit of the citizens of the city. Her leadership extends beyond that. And typically what she has built through strategic thinking and then strategic planning, involvement of board members in that strategic planning process, as well as staff. She's created an environment of trust that you can get anything done that you need to get done. It's a really wonderful thing. We all show up to this meeting once a month. Nobody knows what political position anyone takes on that committee. And we get stuff done. I just love to tell people that I'm part of the Board of Health and part of the health department as we go forward. So I could sit up here and tell about all the accolades and all the rest, but really what I want to let you know is by putting Deanna in that position of Director of Health on a renewal basis right now is the best thing that you could do. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lalim. Mr. Manzi, is there anybody online that wishes to address the council?
If anyone else would like to address the council, please raise your hand electronically now.
Okay, there's nobody on the Zoom meeting. I do have 2 letters that were submitted in support of reappointment of the Director of Health, Deanna D'Amore. One is from Joan McNeil and the other is from Terry Quell. So both of those will be submitted for the record. So public participation would be closed. Now we go to resignations and appointments. The first is one appointment that I have great pleasure in moving forward for recommendation. A person that has really made a difference in Norwalk and the state of Connecticut and done a remarkable job as our Director of Health, at one point leading the department through the accreditation process, which is no easy task. The name that I'm submitting is the current Director of Health, Deanna D'Amore. Do I have a motion? I have a lot of motions. I'll go Mr. Goldstein, Mr. Hubelman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to see Deanna D'Amore's name put forth for reappointment. Some great things have been said already, and they are all absolutely true. But one of the most amazing things is how can you not reappoint someone who had declared an Appreciation Day proclamation on April 23rd of 2021. In 2010, Deanna came to the city of Norwalk and worked with us in the health department as a project manager, and then left and went away. And a couple of years later came back to us as our Director of Health. She has an impeccable pedigree. She is a hardworking, dedicated public servant, and what amazing work she did for the city during the pandemic pales by comparison to anything else. So it is my pleasure to submit her name for reappointment. I think Deanna is a great Director of Health and will continue to serve Norwalk to the best of her ability.
Thank you, Mr. Hubelman. Further comment? Mr. Goldstein.
I was so excited to raise my hand when I shouldn't have before, but Deanna is someone who really exemplifies what it means to be a public servant and exemplifies unbelievable professionalism. I think that someone who is as battle tested as you are, I mean, considering you led us through the biggest health crisis in a century, that's grounds enough for reappointment, let alone the accreditation process. But my personal experience with you, of course, was during last year when we were writing the ordinance about cannabis. And there were a lot of public health concerns. There still are a lot of public health concerns. And I've always thought that your counsel and your critical thinking and the way you work around every issue is something that makes us all better. And so this is a no-brainer. I will enthusiastically support your reappointment to this position.
Further comment? I'm sorry. Okay, Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When, the old adage is going from good to great, and the previous health director did a good job, very good job for Norwalk. But when Deanna came, she took it from good to great. And it's her style, her approach, and most importantly, for me, her leadership. And that came through during the pandemic when other cities were looking to Norwalk in terms of what are you guys doing here in Norwalk? Because it seems to be working and it's working well. And we all pointed to Deanna as our leader during a crisis. So how can we not continue to appreciate the talent that we have here in Norwalk by reappointing her as our health director? Thank you for all that you do and will continue to do for the city of Norwalk.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Ms. Young.
So you got one more whoop whoop, okay? This is, I have to say that I think Mr. Lalim said it perfectly. I mean, with everything that everyone has said about you, I think that could not be accomplished without folks trusting you, your staff trusting you. And Mr. Lalim's made reference to that. When people trust you and they trust your judgment and you're a solid person, you get a lot done. It doesn't matter what your pedigree is. It's what's in your heart and your intention. And you are in the right place. And we are very fortunate. So.
Further comment? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of reappointing Ms. Deanna D'Amore for the Director of Health position? Raise your hand electronically if you haven't already done that. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Congratulations. Would like to say anything, Ms. D'Amore?
I just love Norwalk. It's an absolute honor to be here in the city. The health department has always had such a strong reputation across the state, and that's why I wanted to come here. Many thanks to Ken Lalim and other board members, and Kevin Callahan and Greg Burnett, who's a board member as well. It's just an incredible honor to be here. I love my staff, I love my team, and mayor, and I'm just so fortunate and lucky to have you as our mayor and have you as our leader through the pandemic. About 500 local health and state health officials either quit or were fired during the pandemic across the country. And a lot of it has to do with getting threatened or harassed or just not being supported or getting fired. But I just can't tell you how appreciative I am for all the support I received from you, Mayor, from the county health and the board of health and the community through that all. You just are incredible, Norm. Incredible. I'm very happy.
And thank you for willingness to be part of the city of Norwalk. Okay, next we have the reappointment of Christopher Manella, Water Pollution Control Authority. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to move
Yes,
the appointment of Chris Manella. Chris Manella is a civil engineer and plumbing expert. He his first job out of college at UConn as a civil engineer was with our public works department as an assistant engineer, and he worked his way up to senior engineer and assistant highway superintendent. He has been a chief operating officer, construction manager, project manager for AJ Penna, King Industries, FGB construction company, and he has been serving on the Water Pollution Control Authority, and I wholeheartedly recommend his reappointment and thank him very much for continuing to serve.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor of reappointing Mr. Christopher Manella to the Water Pollution Control Authority? Any opposition? And any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, and thank you, Mr. Manella, for your continued service. Next is on the agenda is mayor's remarks. One thing I wanted people to know is and it's well known, that last week we sent out some tax bills that had some inaccuracies in them. It mailed however, everyone who received an inaccurate tax bill will receive a corrected one, and it will be stamped revised tax bill in red on the tax bill. I know a lot of people are concerned. Approximately 300 residents who qualify for elderly or disabled tax credit programs received an inaccurate bill, and approximately 3,800 residents who received motor vehicle bills reflected inaccurate assessed values. A tax office is making corrections as we speak. They're hoping that we will be ready to send out the rest of them by Friday. We have a meeting tomorrow to discuss exactly the status and where they are. One of the things I want people to know that once they get their bill, they will still have 30 days to pay their taxes without penalty. And also, if for some reason you missed the fact that your tax bill was inaccurate, and you paid the tax bill and you paid in excess of what your actual responsibility is, you will be reimbursed. So I want everybody to understand that. It's a very, very sad, difficult situation. We certainly apologize for this error. It's a software error that we converted to a new software system. And it's there was some just different difficulties getting the information from one source into another. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're going to make this right, and there will be no penalties, and everybody will be receiving a tax bill if they've received an inaccurate one. Also, on garbage collection, due to that heat index coming up, the garbage collection will start at 6 a.m. rather than 7 a.m. this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We recommend that residents put their bins out the night before, so that'll facilitate it. We're also going to have a Sono Farmers Market on Sunday, July 30th. The city of Norwalk's kicking off our first Sono Farmers Market with fresh and local delights such as fresh produce, artisanal goods, and more. All of the vibrant fruits, vegetables, and herbs will be sourced from local farms. It's going to take place from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ryan Park and every other Sunday until November 19th. We also, last Saturday, we kicked off our jazz concert series at Sono 50 on Washington Street. The second year in a row, the city's Recreation and Parks Department has organized this summer concert series in partnership with SNU. Every Saturday through August, the city is hosting a series of free jazz concerts in Sono with performances by a variety of talented musicians. Bands are scheduled to begin at 7 p.m. Some will be at Sono 50 and some will be at Ryan Park. Also, do not forget that we continue to have our free concerts on Wednesday night at the beach. We've got some really talented bands coming there. If you haven't come and enjoyed it, come along and bring your picnic lunch, bring whatever you want, sit down and enjoy the music. So that's all my comments. Now, I believe we're going to have a brief presentation by Michelle Woods Matthews, the Communications Director for the City of Norwalk regarding the city's new logo. Ms. Woods Matthews.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. So this is just a brief presentation regarding some exciting news. If you were at the Mayor's Ball in April, you would have seen the soft launch that the City of Norwalk is going to have a new logo, and we're going to publicly announce that very soon, but we wanted to make sure to show you all. So just to go through some of the goals and exactly what we're doing here, we're replacing Norwalk's Sound of Connecticut logo with a new logo that reads I Love Norwalk that I'll show you in a minute. So all digital areas will be updated by September 15th. So that includes email signatures, websites, press releases, while structure items such as, buildings and vehicles will take longer. We don't expect them to be replaced in the near future, but you will notice on all the digital items, such as the website, this change shortly. So we wanted to have a brand with a message that is fitting to Norwalk and the direction that Norwalk's going in, including the strong sense of community spirit and a brand that appeals to visitors and everything that we have going on in the city of Norwalk, to make it known for folks to come and check out our restaurants and bars, our museums, the Maritime Aquarium. So we believe that this I Love Norwalk logo is more fitting. And one of our goals is also to have a more unified brand among all departments in the city and Norwalk Public Schools that best reflects the community we serve. So all city employees will have a visually uniform email signature, which we think will make it much easier for the public and internal and external partners to be able to view who they're emailing with and easily access people's public information, to get in touch with them. And we also made a logo for Common Council members too, in case you want to use that in your email signature or anywhere else. And you'll be sent that once we officially launch the new logo. And you'll also get some Zoom backgrounds for the new logo, as some are using some Zoom backgrounds that you received previously. And we wanted to, another goal is just to create a distinct identity for Norwalk here in the city, regionally and nationally, putting us on the map a little bit more as a great place to live, work, play, learn, visit, and do business. So we think that this new logo here, which you can see, I Love Norwalk, this is the official one, also known as the horizontal logo, really will be able to help us achieve that goal. So this is the official one, which we'll be using in applications where we have press releases, memos, email signatures, as I mentioned, letterhead, and then social media, as well as advertising and promotional merchandise. And then here on this next page, you can see the secondary / vertical logo. And the purpose of this logo is for size purposes. So if there's limited space applications on the horizontal one that I just showed, then we are asking folks and letting them use this one. So for example, when space is limited on website headers or on social media images or on promotional items, if this one fits better, then folks can absolutely use it. And then on this next page, we created a special use logo. So this isn't the city's official logo, but it's something that we'd like to use more for advertising or promotional purposes, especially when we are trying to market regionally or nationally to folks. And we, you can see right here, the heart symbol in Connecticut is right on Norwalk. So we think this is a really nice one that folks will have access to when they want to use it. And then this next one is an example of official department logos. So here are just two examples. I Love Norwalk, Transportation, Mobility, and Parking in black font. And then on the right, I Love Norwalk, Public Library in teal font. So every department will get a department official logo where the font is in black and teal, and they can use them interchangeably. But this department official logo will also be used as an official logo. So you will see these in department press releases if they send them out, email signatures, memos, letterhead, and other official capacities. And your I Love Norwalk Common Council logo will look similar as well. So that's just a preview of what's to come, but we wanted to keep you in the loop, especially as you'll be getting some of these items via email, and wanted to open up for any questions that you might have. And also joining us is Todd Kallenbach from Dorenberg Kallenbach Advertising, DKA, which is a communications consultant. You might have met Todd before, hired by the city that works closely with the economic and community development team, who's also been helping with this logo launch.
Thank you, Ms. Woods Matthews. Do we have any questions?
I do have a quick question.
Yes, Mr. Camacho.
What's the reasoning for the A being looking like a triangle as opposed to an A? That's the only thing that does stuck out, that struck me. The other letters seem to be correctly written, but the A seems to be off a little bit. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. No one has brought that up before. The logo is artwork. In the past, we had a few different designs that there was a committee that voted on which design they liked the most, but it's basically artwork. But Todd, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Yes, the quick origin story on the Norwalk logo was we developed Visit Norwalk as a brand for tourism back in 2020. And as Michelle points out, that was a process where we presented several designs to stakeholders internally within the city, as well as put out to a public vote on an online survey with a number of other options. And that was the one that was chosen. Again, Michelle pointed out it's artwork. So the word Norwalk is formed out of dimensional shapes and colors, shaded colors. So it's merely graphic design, and it's something that is customized and unique to Norwalk. There's no other A like it.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks, Mr.
You're welcome.
Camacho.
Any other questions or comment?
I do. Sorry. To play off the A, I actually do for my company, so I get it. But I get it's art. I just think I have the same question about like why we went this way, and what were the other opposing logos that were in the running?
Michelle, is that one for me?
I was going to say, I'm not sure what the opposing artwork looked like. How about you, Todd?
Yeah, so there were several original design options presented around the words Visit Norwalk for the tourism logo, which I Love Norwalk evolved from. And as I mentioned, those were narrowed down by a committee that was established by the Economic and Community Development Department that included several stakeholders around the city. 3 finalist designs were put out for public vote, and that was the one that was chosen. So, that's a matter of public record. If you want to go back and look at those designs, again, they go back to 2020.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll do that. The other, because, and especially as an artist, there has to be meaning to this artwork. So I'm just kind of would love to understand the artist's thought process in making that. And then you don't think this is too close to the I Love New York situation? Like, I think for me, a lot of us, how do I say this? Kind of want to hold that whole like town feel that we have, and the metropolitan that we keep trying to push to be. Again, this whole logo to me looks like I Love New York, just colorful. So I'm just trying to understand its uniqueness, or are we trying to look like I Love New York?
Those are good questions. Just to start with your first question about the designs and the styles and what they represent. So the multicolored artwork represents the city's strong sense of inclusivity, creativity, and unique vibrancy. The heart symbols reflects the vitality of the love and passion that people feel when they think of the city that they live in and that they love. And the brand invites or attempts to invite a broad audience to try and engage with Norwalk, to discover it and find their own sense of purpose and place. And it's also supposed to demonstrate that Norwalk is a welcoming and supportive city, while also, as I mentioned, inviting more people to check it out, to live, work, learn, start a business, or visit one of our restaurants or museums. And then in terms of your New York question, when the city looked at the branding possibilities for I Love Norwalk, one of the first steps the city took was to have legal counsel research any potential copyright and trademark infringements with the state of New York. And there were no potential conflicts of interest determined. Essentially, we learned that you can't put a trademark on love We learned that it's an emotion that's universal when it comes to a human bond and doesn't conflict with trademarks. So hopefully
My
that
last,
helps
and I'm gonna
answer your
shut up
question.
after this, and that's my last. It's just my, it's not trademark, it's just uniqueness. You understand? Um, of being Norwalk, and that's why I'm just saying it just seems like a repetitious, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a platform. You know, I'm just saying something more unique to represent the uniqueness of Norwalk, especially with the accreditations we've just recently received as a town here. So that's all I mean. But it's not horrible. It's just, that's what's bringing my questions. And you know, the color, I don't know, the colors throw me off, but at the same time, it's not horrible. That's just my questions, if you understand. But that's it. That's all. I'm just looking to see something a little more unique to us. That's all.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. The last thing I'll say is that once the committee chose the direction, there was a sense of people, the I Love Norwalk, the statement generated with a lot of people that genuinely expressed and resonated with the language. But thank you for your feedback.
Can I just ask a brief question? Who made up this committee? I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, Ms. McGuire, could you repeat your question?
Who made up the committee that decided that this was the final logo?
So the committee dates back to 2021. So I'll let Todd add to that. Was before my time.
Yeah, sure. So this was when Visit Norwalk was formed. Like I said, if you've ever seen that logo, there's strong visual similarities with the new I Love Norwalk logo. So there's equity and consistency in what we've done. There's also a Norwalk for Business logo that's been in existence for about a year that also uses this same sort of design template and color palette. That original committee was put together by the city's Economic and Community Development Department. So they selected individuals from around the city who had various positions with some background in communications and marketing to, again, kind of vet out numerous options that we originally presented. And there were, as I mentioned, 3 finalists that went out to public vote. There were over 300 members of the public who unanimously picked that letter form that you see in those colors. So, and as Michelle mentioned, you know, when the city came to us looking for an official brand for the city, they really wanted a very positive statement that the community could really unite around. And as I heard you know, off the cuff, your newly reappointed health director started her remarks tonight with I Love Norwalk. So we hear that constantly. We hear that just for, you know, top of mind from people we work with in and around the city. So it does really resonate with folks. And I know that you know, this is something that is unique to Norwalk in the way, shape, or in the way it's designed, but the message, as Michelle pointed out, is kind of universal throughout the city. It's genuine emotion that people feel for the city and gives it a sense of place that's uniquely their own in a lot of respects.
All right, just a follow-up question. So this particular logo that says I Heart Norwalk did not go through committee and did not go through a public vote.
It did not go to public vote. It certainly went through several rounds with city employees.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion?
One more. I'm so sorry. I think that's something that it should have been like a community survey, especially to say if it's the language of like our constituents. But the word adore wouldn't have worked in red. Like
Sorry,
with
just
a
that
like
last part. Adore.
the word adore, like if the word adore in like more like an italic slanted, like an italic font slanted, and like I adore and then Norwalk or something different that like it's not like it's going to change. Just wondering like in the uniqueness or the adore, like this, there's so many synonyms for love. So just wondering. it's just with the council, and again, not horrible, it's just, it's the who and the why and the how did this say, yay, this is, and I'm not off with the fonting and even, you know, this with the business. I've seen our Norwalk business one. I'm just, I don't know. I just wish there was a little bit more of like, I think even a door would have been cute there. You know what I mean? Like I guess I'm thinking jetador or whatever. I don't know, a door, something else, but it's not horrible. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. I'm just saying nothing else could have been that.
Yes, thanks for your feedback.
Any
And-
further questions or discussion?
Just an answer.
Mr. Hooverman.
Just one question, Mayor. So I'm understanding this correctly. This was never discussed in any of the committees of the Common Council, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Further discussion or comment? Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Michelle Woods Matthews. Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We move to the consent calendar for today, Tuesday, July 25th, and I will be reading the consent calendar. Items 7A1, Claims Committee, report July 2023. Item 7A2, narrative on tax collection dated July 2023, receive report and discuss. Item 7A3, monthly tax collectors report dated June 2023, receive and discuss. Item 7A4, authorize the purchasing agent to issue purchase orders to Whaley Computer Associates for the supply of 1,200 HP Chromebooks, an amount not to exceed $362,400, account number noted. Item 7A5, authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to Total Communication in an amount not to exceed $126,679.45 for purchase Pure Storage Flash Array with 36 months, 24/7 support and storage installation. Pure State contract pricing applied, contract number noted, and account number noted. Item 7A6, authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to Schneider Electric an amount not to exceed $37,063 for UPS battery replacement for data center, account number noted. Item 7B1, under Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs Committee, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter into agreement with the Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum for the use of Matthews Park and immediate surrounding grounds for their old-fashioned flea market event to be held Sunday, August 27th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Setup time 7 a.m. with tear down by 6 p.m., approximately 2,500 people. Item 7C1, under Community Services Committee, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, and amendments needed to apply for and receive per capita grant in aid funding from the Connecticut Department of Public Health in the amount of $176,004.42 for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Item 7C2, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, or amendments with Sacred Heart University as may be necessary to allow for students in the university's graduate and undergraduate programs to be placed at the Norwalk Health Department for internships and student learning opportunities. This completes the reading of the consent calendar. I'll call for the question. All those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right. Any abstentions? The consent calendar is passed. Back to you, Mr. Mayor. We have 2 items for consent.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. The first item, well, the item would be item 7B2, Ms. Young.
Before we move
You
to
want to
that
go?
item,
Okay, go ahead.
Councilmember Jen McBurr will be recusing herself from this item.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 7B2, authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to M. O'Brien and Sons in an amount not to exceed $87,377.04 for the sole source purchase of a new playground for Marvin School from account number noted of the MHEC MC 15-B14 state contract.
Ms. Young moves the item.
I think we have Mr. Stowers here from Recreation and Parks and Mr. Ken Hughes to explain this project.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. I have trouble with this audio, so bear with me. You know, our mission is always to provide clean, safe, and open spaces and for passive recreation and active recreation. We've since I've been here, we've encountered or set a path to improve the safety of our playgrounds, and we have done that by looking at some of our playground issues, and we've taken a course to improve Flax Hill, Cranberry Park. We're working on Meadow Street, and we're working on a few others, Woodward. So we've, and the ones that we've worked on are all about 13 years old. This particular park is 16 years old, and we're concerned about the safety of our children. And so we want to keep things safe and secure. And so we've embarked on several, and we got a whole list that we'll continue to replace and improve our playgrounds. So Ken can talk about specifics about the acquisition and the detailed work that will be done. Ken?
Stowers.
Thank you, Robert. Good evening, everyone. So back in 2017, there's 2 playgrounds currently at Marvin School. There's the one all the way in the back of the school that runs along Campfield, and then there's the one on the side of the school, which is for the kindergarten children. Back in 2017, we did replace the one in the rear of the school, but we did not have the funds at that time to replace the one on the side of the school. So as Robert stated, this playground is going on 16 years old. It does need to be replaced, and it's actually the next on our list for replacement. The Parks Department does work off of a list by date of playgrounds. So before a playground is slated for replacement, we go and do an inspection to see the condition of the playground. And Marvin School is a little bit unique because not only do the kids for the school use it, but we also have our summer camps there. So that playground actually gets use year round. So it shows a little bit more wear than some of the other playgrounds in the city.
Thank you. Ms. Young, any further comment or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of item 7B2, playground at Marvin School? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I'll need a motion for item 7A1. Mr. Burnett.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item 6A1.
6A1.
Reads as follows: potential acquisition of real property and or discussion of attorney-client privilege communications, Connecticut General Statute 1-200, 6D and E, and 1-210B10 10, and this is a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. We are in executive session at 8:18 PM. Now we're going to go
They're on mute, right?
I don't know. I can't hear them at all.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
There's
Okay,
actually
we're
some-
ready to go back into public
there we go.
session. Okay, we are now in public session. The time is 9:45 during executive session. No motions were made, no votes were taken. Do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. Revoluce makes a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 9:45. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely time this evening.
Thank you. Good night.
No?